Today, let's talk about the 3 ways that you can add value to your property. And these strategies aren't just for assets like mine that are multifamily assets. They have a wide variety of applications like short-term rentals, single-family homes, and you too can utilize them to build more value into your assets. Let's dive right in and find out what they are. Today we're going to talk about 3 strategies that I personally have used on my portfolio, which we've transacted on over $800 million in multifamily assets. And these are the 3 strategies that we've used to increase the value of our assets. And the cool thing is, these strategies can be used in a wide array of properties, not just on multifamily investments. The first thing that we need to understand when we're talking about ways to increase the value of your property is what's the difference between cash flow and appreciation. Multifamily returns are different in today's market than before. Previously, it was not uncommon to see the majority of your return come from cash flow from operating the asset. However, as interest rates rise, cash flow is tighter, making appreciation more of a laser focus. The stark difference in how we realize our returns today couldn't be more apparent. And with interest rates rising, you need to be more cognizant of how you are looking at your investment thesis. You want to make sure that with so much cash flow now being used to service the debt, you want to make sure that you are going in and you're forcing appreciation on the property so that when you exit, you can still realize those large returns that historically might have come from the cash flow of the asset during operations. That no longer exists today. And as cash flow depletes, we want to see more appreciation on the back end so that our overall return is still strong and healthy. The first strategy seems kind of simple and self-explanatory, but we want to increase our rents. First, make sure you're charging market rent or a little above. In multifamily, you know that you're charging market rent when you have a small percentage of units vacant. You can also renovate to add backsplashes, granite, washer and dryer, smart thermostats, smart locks to fetch a higher rent. This is an especially important concept to understand when you're doing a value add plan. In order to charge a higher rent, especially if you're already at market rent, you want to have some kind of justification for that. That's where renovating interiors can really add value. So for example, on some of our assets that we transact on, we will add a smart home package, which is adding a Google Home or Alexa, a Nest thermostat, smart locks, LED controlled lights. All of those things go into what we call a smart package, and we might be able to get anywhere from $50 to $75 a month of additional rent. That's one way to increase the rent on the property. A second strategy that you can use is adding additional income to your property. There are so many ways to do this, and this is your time to be creative. See what the market is doing. Think about if you were living there, what would you want to have available to you, and consider implementing that into your business plan. Some of the ways you can do this, you can add valet trash, you can add reserve parking, you can charge administrative fees, leasing fees, amenity fees. That's actually a little bit of the secret sauce, is the amenity fee. It's one that we add to our multifamily assets often. It can be a $5 or $10 charge. It goes toward your landscaping contracts, your pool contracts, etc. If you think about it, when you're living in a home that you own, who's paying the landscaper? Who's paying the pool person? You are. And so you can utilize that in multifamily assets and charge your tenants for those contracts that you're paying for as an amenity fee. Pest control is another one that you can utilize as a stream of additional income on your assets. And the cool thing is if you're operating single family homes or short-term rentals, there's even more opportunities. You can do grocery delivery, you could do laundry delivery. There's so many ways that you can add income. Just be creative and consider what you would want if you were living there, and make sure you implement that and think of a plan and a strategy to do so. The third way that you can increase the value of a property is by cutting your expenses. The last way to increase the value of your rental is by reducing existing expenses. While it may be impossible to reduce regular payments on the property, you can attempt to negotiate better rates for things like landscaping contracts and insurance by leveraging the volume of your property management company. This is something that we try to do on all of our assets, and most people think that the best way to increase value is from the first 2 methods, but it's not, and I'll tell you why. Because when you increase $1 of income through additional rent or additional income, that's great, you have an extra dollar. but you have expenses that come against that dollar in your T12 or your profit and loss. So your NOI is only really affected by adding maybe 60 cents for every dollar of additional rent you get. But when you cut an expense, the entire dollar is going to your bottom line. So your NOI increases by a full dollar. So don't overlook the power of being able to cut expenses. There is a fine line to walk though, because you don't want to cut too many expenses that you're operating with deferred maintenance, but you can go in and be creative. Maybe if you pay your landscaping contract 3 months in advance, they'll give you a little bit of a discount. Or maybe you can partner up with other properties in the area and negotiate a collective contract together so that everybody gets better pricing. So just things to consider when you're looking at creative ways to cut your expenses. It's important to remember that no matter where or how you're implementing these 3 strategies, your tenants are the lifeblood of your properties. Oftentimes, owners will think to cut expenses or add on fees without offering additional value to their renters. Remember that your renters are your lifeblood of your properties, and that by putting them first, you'll be able to increase profits over the long haul. So make sure you're considering that these are people and these are their homes. This is where they live. Think about how you would want to be treated if you were living there and how you would want your landlord to think of you as a tenant, and treat your tenants that way. It will lead to long-term success and it will not be a short-sighted vision. And that's what you want to really avoid when you're looking to implement these strategies. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure you check out the next video. Okay, ready? I don't remember what I'm saying on this slide.